All right, everybody, good afternoon. Welcome back. And we've got more to talk about when it comes to Tyrice Knight. We got more to break down, although, quite frankly, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. There's not as much here as there is with most of these other players. And a big reason why is because there's only so much stuff you can look at with this guy. Um, I don't know if people are under the impression that I have some super secret and super uh, detailed source that gives me game tape for every single football game that's been played in America or anything like that. But it's not true. I'm using the same resources that a lot of you guys do, and there just isn't that much out there from UTEP. Most of their games aren't really on TV. Maybe they're on some kind of local broadcast in the area, but a lot of the game footage does not make it to the general public. So you've got really, and I'll talk about this later today, one game that you can dissect in terms of like game tape. And then you've got a couple others that you can kind of piece together, although it's a big pain to do that. And then you've got highlight tape, which is whatever, right? There's only so much you can do with that. So I'm just going to say it. My list of pros and cons with Tyrice Knight is a lot shorter than with most of these other players because there's just less to break down. So it's also to a certain extent kind of intrinsic with his position, I think. I think you can say more with fewer words when it comes to breaking down a linebacker, but we just have less to go on here. So I'm going to say it right now. This isn't going to take that long. But let's go ahead and do it and get the most that we can out of it. So Tyrice Knight, the positives with him. The way I see it, gap shooting. He is an excellent gap shooting linebacker, which is why he makes all those tackles for loss. That's why he had 15 and a half tackles for loss last year. He's really good at sensing where the play is going, rocketing into the backfield. He uses his acceleration and burst to shoot his way into the backfield and go make a play. So you see that. You see that in his highlight reel. You see that on his tape. It's a consistent thing that he does really well at a high level. He can shoot gaps and make plays in the backfield. He's very aggressive in attacking running plays. That's something that I think has really improved over his career. If you look at it from last year to the previous year, it's changed. It's gotten better. He quickly trusts what he thinks he sees and then just goes. There was a hesitancy in him before that I think has largely gone away now. He's really good at getting up to top speed when he's pursuing a play. He covers a lot of ground. He's sideline to sideline. He's somebody who can make up for a bad mistake because he accelerates so quickly and he has a pretty good top speed. So his ability to go sideline to sideline and cover a lot of ground is very notable, which is how he had such a high tackle count last year, 140. Coverage wise, he's pretty good in zone. He can handle zone stuff, hangs with it fairly well. He's got enough athleticism, although he's not a great athlete. I want to stress that. He has enough athleticism to react in coverage to what he sees in front of him, and he also has enough to click and close properly when he's in his zone. So if you leave him in zone coverage, I think he'll be all right. He's a good tackler as well. We went over that when we talked about the numbers, but he is somebody who's going to miss the occasional tackle just like everybody else in the world, but his form when tackling is pretty good. His technique is good, and I think that he will be a reliable tackler in the NFL. So that stuff's all pretty good. He was good as a blitzer. His closing speed is impressive. When he gets close to the quarterback, his ability to close those final steps to actually finish the job is pretty strong. So he's got that going for him. I think that he will add value as a blitzer in this league. It's not going to be anything over the top great, but I think it will be a part of his game. And he was also very durable in his collegiate career. I don't think he missed any significant time to injury. I don't think he missed any games at the very least. Maybe he missed a snap here or there, but if he did, I don't think anybody will begrudge him that. He's a linebacker. They take a lot of contact, and when they get hurt, they get hurt. So, very durable player, very reliable player for UTEP over the last several years. Now, that gets us to the cons, and there are a significant number of them. As of right now, I think it's fair to say that he doesn't possess the football IQ that you want. The cerebral side of football just isn't really there for Tyrice Knight right now. So he can freelance out of his role. He'll end up trying to go make some crazy good play, but he'll end up vacating his responsibility or his duty on a play, and he'll end up putting the whole defense in jeopardy because he was thinking that he could go do something bigger than what he needed to do. So he's not all the way there with his football IQ. And I think that you can look at pretty much any year of his play, he gets tricked. Eye candy and misdirection gives him trouble. He will bite down hard on a fake. He will bite down hard on what the play looks like and often end up out of position because of it. Overall, I think it would be fair to say that he doesn't have great linebacker instincts yet. They aren't there yet. Who knows if they'll ever be there? Sometimes they can be taught, sometimes they can't. But as of right now, even the thing about Tyrice Knight that makes him intriguing, which is the gap shooting and backfield playmaking, is also part of what makes him a problem. He guesses a lot. I think he guesses a lot. And sometimes he guesses right and makes a play. But when he doesn't guess right, it looks bad. And he ends up allowing a big play because he guessed wrong. And I do think that a lot of it is guessing. There are players out there who get it right so often, they can't be guessing. They're clearly processing information on a high level, and they can diagnose a play and get to where the ball is going to be. In the case of Knight, I think he's guessing. Stack and shed game is pretty weak. He gets washed out of the play by linemen a lot. I think it improved a little bit in the most recent year, but stack and shed is not there yet. At the NFL level, I think you have to assume that he's not a guy who can take on blockers reliably, which is one thing that I thought that McDonald might prioritize. So I'm a little bit surprised by that. Although I do recognize that most of the linebackers in this class were not stack and shed guys. He doesn't have a lot of strength, which is part of the reason why he can't stack and shed. He doesn't have the functional strength to get blockers off of him. He doesn't use his hands well enough to stack the blocker. So he's a little bit on the weaker side as far as linebackers go. While he is relatively fast in terms of like running in a straight line, his play speed is not going to be enough to hold up in man coverage most of the time. I would not expect him to be a good man cover linebacker. Not that that's going to be a big deal, but it is worth noting. So probably not going to be good in man. And just overall, I feel like he doesn't diagnose plays very well, which puts him out of position a lot. I think his ability to evaluate a blocking scheme just isn't there yet. I think his ability to look at where the play is and understand where it's going, it's just not there. And you're going to have to coach him up to get good things out of him. Otherwise, he's just going to be a special teamer. So some good talent here, some fun stuff for sure. Some belief that he can get to a high level as a player. But as of right now, it's most of this stuff is just between the ears. Most of this stuff is just he needs to have a deeper understanding of how to play the position. And he needs to play, I think, a little more patiently. Like he's so aggressive getting into the backfield when sometimes he needs to be playing more laterally, side to side. Can he pick up on that stuff over time? We'll have to see over the next year.